You know what's crazy, bro? I've never seen so many people that wanted to be an anime character so bad in my life. Like this certain spike in self-improvement, this spike that occurred over the past year and a half has been absolutely insane. While it is positive for, you know, Generation Z and millennials, I don't know. I just can't wrap my head around this scary rise in self-improvement. See, self-improvement has been something that I've been exploring for like the past 3.5 years, and over that time I've learned a lot of humbling details about the entire experience. Like self-improvement, man, that shit is tough, especially when you're young. Like a lot of people tend to ignore all of these traits that you pick up until you get to the point where it's like, okay, you finally reached sort of a climax. Well, there really is no climax, but you reach somewhat of a point in your age group where you just look at it and you're like, damn, why have I gone so far ahead? It's like you're like 10 miles ahead of everyone else. That's how it fucking feels like. And while that may seem like a good thing at face value, it really makes you put things into perspective. Like, yo, I wanted to be a more social person. Why the hell am I learning about psychology? Why am I learning about fucking philosophers and shit if I just wanted to be a more social person? See, you could gain those skills, but then you just end up noticing that everybody else that you talk to, long story short, you just don't fit in at that point. So look, I know I went off on a bit of a tangent here, you know, that might, you know, be a little spice of some personal shit, but I just want you guys to understand something about self-improvement, okay? You gotta understand that this shit is never sunshine and rainbows. You know, you be watching those animes and shit, they be grinding and stuff, they be going through the physical pain, but there's a lot of mental shit that comes along with self-improvement. You know what I mean? Like, there are certain aspects of the mental game that you have to get sorted out, because a lot of people, they'll watch these videos, right? They'll do the shit that they tell you to do or whatever. You do that stuff, you do it for like a week or two, you burn out, you fall into a depression, you get motivation again, then you do it again, and it kind of repeats the process. Maybe that shit might narrow out or actually widen, you know, the gap between breakouts or burnouts. I mean, you know, it may get bigger or larger or whatever. You might be able to go, you know, longer doing said thing before burning out, but you never really break off of the routine. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And I'm happy that self-improvement as a whole is expanding. You know, it's a good feeling to know that people are actually getting on their shit and, you know, being productive. But, you know, I just feel like people don't realize the issues that come with self-improvement, because believe it or not, everything has issues. Yes, I mean everything. But look, man, I've watched a lot of these videos over my time, and I gotta say, I've learned a shit ton of good advice. I've learned a lot of things about myself that I never thought I'd ever be able to learn, you know, and it's cool and all, you know, getting all this information, you know, being able to dissect things and see how you could apply those certain situations and those certain skills into your everyday life. You know, that shit is dope. And I also understand that people take a lot away from even watching TV shows, which was a video that I was gonna do, but you know, I kind of gave up on that shit because I wasn't really feeling it too much, and I might as well make it a segment here. So let me go into it. Look, man, people want to be like Mikey from Tokyo's Revengers, or like fucking Aaron or Levi or whatever. People want to be like, say, Thomas Shelby, or, you know, some random shit. You know what I mean? People want to be those type of people because they see a certain aspect of their character that they could somehow adapt into their everyday life, and they see that, and you know, shit happens, and you know, they end up doing that thing, or they try to be that thing that they're not, and then they end up falling even deeper. There's reasons behind this shit. There's reasons, and the reason is that when you're really going through the whole self-improvement thing, it's really a huge shift in your mindset. It's a huge shift in how you live your everyday life. The things that you do within the day, the way that you think, all of those things need to change in order for you to become that thing that you want to be. See, when I started, I had no idea about shit like stoicism, or, you know, all of these different things, and, you know, 48 laws of power or whatever. I had very little insight on any of these. And honestly, if I were to have start looking into those in the beginning of my shit without first figuring out all the small tweaks of my life, then I'd probably end up being another one of those generic douchey people who think that they're getting something done when they really aren't. See, I went through a few trials and tribulations beginning of quarantine because I had to set up a routine that would guide me in the right direction and set a good foundation for myself. See, I had the time to do all that stuff, so I ended up doing that. I learned to be more self-aware and you know, by building up that self-awareness, I was able to expand into different types of lifestyles. Started practicing a bit of stoicism, started adapting that into my everyday life. And while stoicism itself is an amazing thing, and I feel like more people should adopt it, bro, it's a tough ass philosophy to adapt into your life. It's a tough philosophy, you know, adapting those things into your everyday life. That doesn't come without the right mental fortitude. People often miss out on the big mental aspect of self-improvement because they see all these guys with fit bodies and talking wise, and they're like, yo, yeah, I'm gonna just be like that guy. And then they go to the gym and they think, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym until I stop thinking about all the bitches that I want and start thinking about my mind and being wise and shit. And then, you know, things end up happening and they end up wherever the hell they end up. And bro, the mental aspects of that shit is crazy. If you aren't self-aware, if you can't even describe yourself for real, then you're not there yet, my guy. You're not there. A lot of people miss out on that aspect of self-improvement, and that's why that shit's hurting, or that's why they're getting such a false image of what self-improving really is. And then you go on and watch all these types of content about how to approach the things that you really wanted to do, whether it's by spamming up a bunch of red pill content on female nature to figure out how to bag all the females in the world, or by doing whatever, and then you end up becoming super fucking naive to just everything in general. You know, you end up becoming naive, oblivious, like, you know, you just end up falling back more and more. So I'd say it took me about 2 years to finally understand myself, understand my habits, and understand the right ways in which I should approach doing certain things in order to get said things done, which is great. Everybody should strive to do that. That's really the whole point in self-improvement, really. It's about figuring out yourself. Like, you think that 6 months or say 7 months or even a year of working out will help you reach that point, but no, it really won't. It's a lot more than just working out and reading books and journaling and shit. Those things have to have substance. And while everything does have substance, there's levels to that shit. So if you are doing all those things with little to no substance, if you don't have a gym routine that works for you, if you're not journaling about yourself and trying to figure out certain things about yourself, if you're not looking at your hardships and actually trying to understand why those things keep on happening and all that shit and above, then how do you expect to reach that? People need to keep that shit in mind when it comes to self-improving, and trust me, your mind is gonna warp. All right, you won't really reach that point of just straight inner peace until shit, who knows how long. You know, I guess that portion is really dependent on the person, but you're gonna have a lot of moments where you're seriously fighting with your inner self. And if you approach this journey and you continue to lie to your inner self, then you're going to end up going through things like self-doubt and even depression. You know what I'm saying? Because you kept on setting all these expectations for yourself. You're watching all these videos and then you just fall short on all of them because, well, you just didn't have the drive, or maybe it just doesn't work for you. Look, I think that the biggest thing to take away from this video is find a routine that's sustainable for you before you try to approach self-improvement. I want you to look at self-improvement from, say, a third-person perspective and pickpocket certain shits that you could, you know, actually put into your everyday life. Something that isn't too, I guess, stressful on you, or doesn't pack too much of a load into your everyday life, and just start slowly bringing things in. Figure out what works for you. Try out different routines. Don't go in with the expectation that, yo, this is what I'm gonna be doing for like the next year and a half. Be like, okay, I'm gonna try this out. I'm gonna go one day at a time, and I'm gonna see how long I can keep this up for. And if you can't keep it up for, then that means that there's room to adjust, and by doing so, you'll finally be able to figure out yourself slowly but surely. I gotta say, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share. Follow the socials down in the description below. And yeah, this is Ibra signing out. I'll see y'all later, man.